God, it's really great to finally be getting a few weeks of fluidity, I think is what we've been looking for. No distractions, nothing like that. We've just been keeping going nice and easy. We've been getting a few good results. Now, luckily, there is nothing to stop us from continuing this hot streak of form. You fucking piece of shit! Hello guys, how you getting on? My name's Darren Kelly and welcome back to another episode of the Premier League Verdict. We're going into yet another, I cannot believe it, international break after the current week of fixtures have just played out. Ireland are playing England, sure there's going to be no rows at that. And then we got Wales and Bulgaria in the Nations League, which, I mean, neither of which I'm particularly looking forward to be honest. But before all that, let's talk about the week of Premier League fixtures that has just happened. The weekend kicked off with a thrilling game at the Amex between Brighton and Burnley, which non-surprisingly finished in a 0-0 draw. Not a particularly great result for either team, to be quite honest. Southampton followed up that evening with a fantastic 2-0 victory over Newcastle United. Che Adams, who was nominated for the October Player of the Month, was the man who gave them the lead with an absolutely brilliant finish, and Stuart Armstrong got Saints' second, and that, at the time, moved them up to the top of the Premier League table. Unbelievable scenes. Manchester United kicked things off on Saturday then with a 3-1 win over Everton, despite falling behind thanks to Bernard. 2 goals from Bruno Fernandes and Edinson Cavani's very first for the club, a great breakaway goal to seal the win for Manchester United. Game that wasn't without its controversies though. Jordan Pickford again probably should have been sent off for this on Harry Maguire. Like, the fact that VAR again has not even looked at this decision. For this one, I cannot believe Manchester United have not been given a penalty here. It's absolutely incredible. These decisions are just happen every single week, and this will not be the last decision that I go on to talk about in this video. But what I did find particularly hilarious was Seamus Coleman after the incident. That's my captain right there. Another game that was littered with controversy, well, one big one in particular, was Crystal Palace's 4-1 win over Leeds. They took the lead through an absolutely brilliant Scott Dan header, but then it looked like Leeds had equalised only a few minutes later when Patrick Bamford stole in and finished brilliantly, only to be ruled off for offside after literally pointing where he wanted the through ball to go. Unbelievable. A brilliant Abrechi Eze free kick then put Palace 2-1 up before Patrick Bamford did eventually score to make it 2-1, but it only got worse for Leeds from there thanks to a Helder Costa OG and Jordan Ayew's second half goal to make it an astounding win for Crystal Palace. Chelsea continued an incredible hot run of form. A 4-1 victory, and it could have gone very, very differently indeed. We fell behind very early on thanks to a brilliantly worked goal finished off by David McGoldrick. I feel like he only actually scores against Chelsea, but you know, we can move past that. And I think this is the key difference in this Chelsea team this season with the players that we've brought in, right? I feel like after going behind that early, I think the Chelsea team from last season would have dropped the heads and wouldn't have played from there on in. The passing would have been slow. We would have struggled to break Sheffield United down. But that wasn't the case. We kept going, kept the heads up, and we got back into the game thanks to Tammy Abraham's unorthodox finish, I think it's fair to say. Ben Chilwell's goal then had Chelsea 2-1 up at half-time. Then second half goals from Thiago Silva and Timo Werner. Wow, that sounds absolutely beautiful to say. Capped off a 4-1 victory for Chelsea, very much aided by the wizardry, if you will, of Hakim Ziyech. His deliveries into the box, firstly for the Chilwell goal, then for the Thiago Silva header. Absolutely unbelievable. This fella, we look to have a real proper player on our hands here. And fair play to the team, like really good determination and character to get back into the game and not let the heads drop. I think, as I said, that team from last season probably would have gone on to lose that game 1 or 2-0. Moving on to the game now at the London Stadium, and Thomas Souček's 91st minute goal seemed to be the decisive moment in the game, only for Ademola Lookman to then miss a penalty a couple of minutes later in stoppage time, the last kick of the game, where he tried to Panenka it down the middle and Fabianski has just caught it. Now, I don't want to go in too much on Ademola Lookman because I feel like I'd imagine a lot of people have already gone in on him enough. But holy shit, man. Like, you're looking at it and you think to yourself, the end of the season, Fulham will be in a relegation scrap. And they might look back on that potential lost point at West Ham and think, you know, that might just have saved us. Like, I don't realise, like, surely if you get a penalty in the 91st minute, you're just putting your foot through in it and making sure it just goes into the back of the net. Like, that's all that should be going through your head at that moment. Not how good will I look if I Panenka this. And I think it was the Irish guy at HITC Sport made the point that Lookman is only on loan from RB Leipzig, so this might not even really affect him, especially like if Fulham get relegated. He's probably not going to end up at Fulham next season, so it doesn't really matter that much to him. But surely while you're at the team that you're at, just do what you can to try and help them, because like Fulham are going to be struggling come the end of the season, and that was just ridiculous. One of the worst Panenka attempts I think I've ever seen. Apart from my own, of course. Moving on to Sunday then, and there was another late goal, and it sent Tottenham top of the table after they beat West Brom by a goal to nil. It was Harry Kane's 88th minute goal that sent Tottenham top of the table. Only prematurely though, because then it was Leicester who went top of the table after a 1-0 win over Wolves. This goal came very early in the game, and again, it was controversial. It was a Jamie Vardy penalty after a very, very harsh handball on Kilman. Pratt has tried to get the cross in, and again, it's one of them, and not the last one in the weekend, but it's one of them where he's tried to cross it, and Kilman's hand is just there as he's running. He's hit it. Vardy sicks away the penalty, and it was enough, although the goal was very early in the game, it was enough for Leicester to claim all 3 points and go top of the table going into the international break. Gotta go fast. Moving on to the big one then, at the Etihad, and let's be honest, it was a little bit of a disappointing game, particularly in the second half. Manchester City won, Liverpool won. Liverpool took the lead very early on when Sadio Mane was fouled in the box by Kyle Walker. Mo Salah took away the penalty, and then it was an absolutely brilliant equaliser. Dennis Bergkamp-esque, if you like, from Gabriel Jesus to equalise for Manchester City, who then had the chance to go in front at the break. When, again, it's another one of those handballs. It's an attempted cross from the right-hand side. This time it's Joe Gomez's arm it hits. Not an awful lot you can do about it. He's literally running. I think this whole handball rule needs to be reshaped again, because the penalties that are being given at the minute are absolutely ridiculous. But luckily for Liverpool, Kevin De Bruyne, of all people, stuck the penalty wide, and that was how the game finished. There wasn't an awful lot else to talk about in the second half. There was another potential handball incident in the second half when Liverpool shot him off João Cancelo, who had his arms like this, and referee said nothing doing. So I don't know what the rule, like, apparently that's okay, but this isn't when you're running and the ball hits the arm. It's very, very confusing for fans looking at those handball decisions, and it needs to be looked at and it needs to be changed ASAP, I think. But looking at the two teams on the day, I wasn't very impressed with either Manchester City or Liverpool, to be quite honest with you. Now, I know Liverpool missing one or two, obviously Thiago still out, and I think that game was definitely crying out for the creative spark of Thiago. Obviously we had it in De Bruyne, but he had one of the worst games I've seen him play in a Man City shirt. Obviously then Man City are missing the likes of Aguero as well. Nathan Ake was only coming back from an injury too. Both sides just seem to lack any sort of fluidity to their play, and I feel like if anybody deserved to win the game, it was probably Man City, because there was definitely times in the second half where Liverpool were very much backs against the wall whenever they were getting on the ball, very sloppily giving it away. It's still very early on in the season, don't get me wrong, there's still plenty of time for these sides to improve. Obviously Liverpool have had a decent start to the season, but have not really. I think the game against Atalanta in the Champions League during the week was probably the first time that I thought to myself, you know, they look at their absolute best. But a point apiece, probably a point better for Liverpool, especially away from home as well, and they'd be happier to take that than Manchester City would be. Moving on then to the last game of the weekend then, and Arsenal. What an impressive win. I gave you so much praise for beating Manchester United at Old Trafford last week. To go and lose in such humiliating fashion. 3-0 they lost at home to Aston Villa, who continue to produce some really amazing results. I actually believe Villa have a game in hand, and if they win that, they actually go top of the Premier League. And John McGinn gave Villa the lead, only for it to be chalked off for an offside in the build-up. They did take the lead then when Ross Barkley plays in Matt Targett. He plays it across the box. It looked like Trezeguet was going to get in on the back post, but it was actually turned in by Bukayo Saka into his own net. And it got no better for Arsenal in the second half, thanks to a brace from Ollie Watkins. The only real chance that Arsenal had was through Alexander Lacazette, and even at that, bit of a half chance. But Aston Villa, absolutely full value for their win, and I'm starting to really get very much, as I said, Barkley and Grealish forming one hell of a partnership. Martinez, who signed from Arsenal, has proved to be one hell of a signing as well, and obviously Ollie Watkins is beginning to get himself amongst the goals, and we knew he had that goal scoring talent, but he just struggled to really translate it on a consistent basis. Obviously he got a couple against Liverpool, and obviously a couple against Arsenal the weekend, the team who he grew up supporting. Completely chalks off the impressive victory at Old Trafford last week for Arsenal. And it did, for a lot of Arsenal fans, kind of feel like they were going back to square one. And that's it. We go into another fucking international break now, and I'm not looking forward to watching Ireland play today. But something that there is to look forward to, that did not come out well. There is one thing to look forward to coming towards the end of the week, and it's a little video we got coming out on Thursday, and then I'm hoping to upload the next episode of the Goal Recreation series on Saturday. But talking about that video on Thursday, here's a little sneak peek. No!
I just seen Cormac killing electrical boys.
Like that, like fucking that. Oh my god, brilliant.
Wait, hang on.
Yes, boy!
Oh, I can't wait to put that video out. So make sure you guys are subscribed so you do not miss that. Stick on your notifications as well so you are part of the notification gang. So every time... Gang? Ugh, don't like the way I said that. So when that video does drop on Thursday, that you are one of the first to see it. So that's all I have to say today, lads. Leave a like if you did enjoy. Subscribe if you're new, as I said. And as always, I will catch you later.
But when we out all night, do the shit we like, we living for that. We living for that.